Mark, please join me. Let's give him a round of applause. Ninja will be showing cards to tell if you are speaking too long. Mark, the stage is now yours.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, we good on this mic here? All right, I'm going to do a little housekeeping myself too, if I may. Okay, this is the Madonna moment. I can go like this, and then I can throw it back on. So if you're up here speaking throughout the day and you want to walk around, Ninja said we go like this, but you got to keep it tight. Got to keep it tight, right, Ninja? So anyway, I can't just stand behind a podium the whole time. I'll go crazy. So if you're like me, this sets you free. So if you want to be up here today, that's housekeeping number one. Next, I just want to say thanks to Dustin. You can tell, you know his strength. Bringing us all together is pretty, that's a huge feat. And I think we all know the major benefit of today is that we get to know each other. This networking is incredible. And I just want to keep it casual, enjoy the day, hanging out. There's no pressure, opportunity to network with each other and during the breaks and just learn from each other. I'm really excited to take notes from each one of you. I hope to impart some important, just incredible, valuable information. And it's all recorded. We're going to get all sorts of photo ops and social media clips. It's going to be good. So it's just a neat opportunity to network with people we normally wouldn't be able to. So Dustin, thank you so much for your hard work for months, calling us all up, talking us into getting here, and this neat experience of this. It was a mission getting here, by the way, wasn't it? Dustin, thank you. Okay. Don't hold the button. Okay, like this. How higher? Right there? All right. Feel like I want to sing a song. All right. All right. Well, let's keep it fun and keep it relaxed today. So I'm going to go handheld. So I have a mission. I have a mission to help every small business owner, not just in America, but all over the world, live their dream. And just a couple weeks ago, Patty and I were in Italy, and we were walking the streets of Como and these little villages, and several nights we just went to this little pizzeria where this husband and wife were like just living their passion. We're in broken English, overpaying for pizza, just so excited to see another small business across the world just making it work. We went to a clothing restaurant and a clothing store where this grandson, third generation store, sold us a leather jacket, and he was talking about how his grandpa started this business, and it was just another Main Street business, just trying to live their passion and their dream. And these businesses not only have a dream, but they want to leave a legacy. They want to leave what they've created, and you see it all the time. And that legacy could vary from person to person. It could be knowledge, it could be a network, a system, a tradition, a recipe. And those legacies can be really hard to leave. And over the last 25 years, I've cracked the code on something that's right in front of you, and you'll be surprised today to know what it is that is the secret to leaving that legacy to your family. And I've perfected it, I figured it out, I've been teaching it, and I'm going to share it with you today. So, now about me first, my story. I grew up in a small town in Washington State on a farm, and I learned a lot from my parents about honesty, hard work, the law of the harvest, no get-rich-quick schemes on a farm, for any of you that grew up that way. And on this, throughout this experience, it was in the 80s, I was on this farm feeling very isolated, and I wanted something bigger and badder. And so if you've seen the movie Wall Street, and we see that back in the 80s, Michael Douglas, and I was like, oh man, I'd love to work for big business and go to New York and and because I felt trapped in this little small town. And when I turned 19, 20, I decided first I needed to serve a mission. I was going to go on be a missionary for 2 years. So I grew up LDS. Some have heard of Mormons, and so I was a little crazy in high school and thought, all right, I got to get my act together. And so I was going to volunteer. Now, if you didn't know this, with the LDS faith, you volunteer to go on a mission. You pay for it yourself. You young people, for 2 years, no girls, no music, no TV, no drinking, no partying, and you just serve for 2 years. And you pay for it yourself. Does that sound crazy? So I volunteered to go on this mission, and you don't know where you're going to get sent. You get sent anywhere. You might have to learn a language. And I got sent to New York City. And I thought this was my calling. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get to see the big city up close and personal. And so went off, lived in Long Island and in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, went up to West Point even. Incredible experience, sacrificed 2 years of my life to just serve. And it was interesting. There was a part of me that saw this huge disparity between the haves and the have-nots, and it kind of just stuck with me. But I was still pretty enamored. I was a 20-year-old, you know. So I go back, hit college, went to school in Idaho and Utah, and got a master's degree in accounting and then and tax and law, and worked at KPMG, tax court, all the big deals, and I was in Portland, Oregon, trying to get a position in New York. I was all thinking that was going to be my path, and I was working in the concrete jungle. And one day I had this card table moment, this like folding table, kitchen table moment, where I was like, this isn't me. I want to help small business. It was something inside of me, and I needed to serve a second mission. And that mission was to help all these little small business owners that a lot of times they're the have-nots. They don't have access to a tax lawyer. I was getting offers for $800 an hour, this, that, go work in the big city and for big corporations. And I'm like, I don't even know who I'm talking to. I want to talk to a mom and pop at a small business. And that's a hard thing as a tax lawyer. You got to, I packed up. I took my family at that time, and we packed and went to this small town in southern Utah. And after about 3 months of helping every business owner in town, I realized I'm going to start doing divorces and car accidents, or I got to figure this out. And so back in those days, it was before even YouTube. I started my own AM radio show, wrote some books, started speaking anywhere they let me speak. I lived in a van down by the river. You know, I was just like, whatever. That was a joke, by the way. You're supposed to, okay, you guys got to relax today, right? You got an accountant you're listening to. I'm the only one about cracking jokes. Anyway, so anyway, I started to figure out how to help small business and how to teach this concept of the American dream and leaving a legacy. And I found the best tool, and I started to learn how to teach it. And it was there right in front of us. And this is going to sound really weird, but you're going to love this. It's your family board meeting. It's your corporate board. Doctor, this speech was for you. No, I'm just joking. I can't believe you're here. It's your board. Do you know every LLC in America, now over 40 million LLCs in America, and all the corporations and companies formed around the world have to have a board. They need a board. It's great for asset protection, it's business growth, learning, and it's a tax write-off every time you go and have your board meeting. And families are like, I have an LLC, I can have a board? Yes. Every company we set up on our law firm now around the country, we ask, okay, who's your best friend? Who's your family? Who are your loved ones? Who do you care about? Who do you travel with? Who's your brain trust? Oh, it's my brother, my sister, my mom, dad. Okay, well, they're going to be on your board. And so we set up a board of advisors, a board of directors. And this board, you don't have to file it with the state. You don't have to file it with the IRS. When you form your entity, you create a board. Now, for a corporation, you've all probably filed your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, and you have minutes for the officers and directors, right? Well, with an LLC, you have a board of advisors, and you adopt it in your operating agreement. It's an internal document. Super easy to do. And so I'd start to teach families, this is your trick. This is your trick to pass on your legacy. It's going to be a great tax write-off, by the way. and it's going to make your corporation more strong, protecting the corporate veil. Maybe I'll tell a story or two about that. So I'm teaching this, I'm figuring it out, I'm trying to crack the code, helping small business owners. I'm like, I gotta live this myself. I gotta be doing this. So it was about 12, 14, 15 years ago. My kids were all teenagers at the time. My youngest, Molly, it was I think 10 or 12. And I told my wife at the time, we're gonna have our board meeting. I want to do it in a month or two. We're gonna have our board retreat. And we're gonna go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. If you've been to Jackson Hole, beautiful. I said, we're going to run the river, the Snake River. We're going to go to Bubba's, if you've been there. Go to Bar J Wrangler. We're going to have a great time. And I'm like, this is going to be awesome. And my wife at times was like, don't ruin a good family vacation with a board meeting. Please don't do this. I'm like, no, it's going to be good. I had to talk the whole family into it. And because if you have teenagers, you know what everybody envisioned. We're going to go to a hotel, sit around one of the beds in the hotel rooms and just fight. That's what families do, right? So I said, no, we can do this. So I call up to the hotel, the Silver something. I can't, it escapes me at the moment. And the south side of Jackson Hole. And I call up and go, yeah, we're going to have the Kohler Corporation board meeting this weekend. We're going to be coming. And they're like, okay, can I rent a room? You can rent like any small boardroom for $100 for the day or whatever. They're like, you're going to have the Alpine room. I'm like, all right. So we now when you reserve a room for like this sort of thing, the hotel, they have the marquee, right, set up. So we're walking in, and my kids are bringing little roller bags, and it says on the marquee, welcome Kohler Board of Directors. The kids are like, what the hell's going on? like, what's up? And so, and I had it set up, so when they walked up to the front desk, they got a little folder and a name badge. And they're, Dad, why do we need a name badge? It's just our family. I'm like, you go to a conference, everybody's got to have a name badge, So I try to make it official. That's part of the technique. You got to respect it. And so they open up their book, and it says, 9 a.m. tomorrow, you got to be in the Alpine room. No screwing around. Don't go to the restaurant. Start arguing over who gets what and what they're going to do. And I say, be there at 9, or you don't get to go river running. You don't get to go to Bubba's. No rodeo. Jackson Hole rodeo on Friday nights. It was pretty kick-ass. So. But none of that. So they're like, okay. So I get up like 6 in the morning. I go set up the little PowerPoint, the table. I have like all these little notebooks set up for each one of them, and continental breakfast. And the kids walk in, and they're like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I started to pass on my legacy. I want to give you some tools to talk about in your board meeting. But I started to talk about the business, talk about the plans for the year. We watched the Dave Ramsey video, stay out of debt. We're going to go to college. We're not going to go into college debt. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Started talking about business, started talking about all the things that mattered to me. This passion that I've been trying to live myself, I started talking about it. And it kills me every time I tell this. It's about 11 o'clock. We're supposed to go river running in Bubba's at noon or 1. And at about 11:30, one of my teenage daughters goes, hey, Dad, can we keep doing this? Let's skip river running. She goes, you go around the country and talk about small business, but when do we get to talk about it with you? And it just like hit me to the core. And the kids loved it. Our family is starving to learn what we know. And we've got to find a constructive way to share it and pass this legacy on and pass on what we're learning about our own small businesses. Help them build their own businesses. They don't have to buy your business, even though a lot of us business owners want them to. But we can leave all this knowledge we're learning, because you don't learn it in school 9 times out of 10. It's the street smarts. Well, we ended up still going river running, went out for barbecue. But every year since then, we've now held our family board meeting. We've done Puerto Rico, and Patty and I did Deer Valley, Park City last Christmas. And every time we have our board meetings now, there's a printed agenda. Every kid gets their time to talk about their dream and their business. We're helping each other. And again, I'll give you a couple of things to talk about, but it has been life-changing. And by the way, it was a complete tax write-off. Every time you do your board meeting, you're writing off the travel, the dining, everything about it. And you're documenting your minutes. You're putting in accountable plans for your tax deductions. You're documenting what you're buying or selling or this or that. You're putting it in your corporate book. If there's a lawsuit, your corporate book you're stronger. You're more protected in any sort of lawsuit. You're doing all the little things you're supposed to, but we see it as a burden. So many business owners I talk about, you're doing your board minutes. I don't want to do that. Now we got the BOI report, right? The business owner information deal due by the end of the year. And everybody's like, oh, it's such a burden. I'm like, it's an opportunity. This is the coolest part of your business. To get support, to get help, to talk about what you're trying to accomplish and pass on everything you're learning to those loved ones. And it doesn't have to be kids. Who's your best friend? Take your mom and dad. Take whoever. If you're traveling with them, let's write it off. And as the accountant and me, I want to find a reason to write this off. And so this board meeting concept, and I want to tell you give you a few more tips for it. But I brought you all a gift today. This is hardbound. It's good. We got notepads on the table and all that's good. But this is going to be your family board meeting minutes right here. I just wrote that down. It's embossed here. And this can slide right into your corporate book. I bet you everybody in here has an LLC even for some investments, your business operations, your rental properties. This now becomes the documentation. It can be minutes, any minutes. They don't have to be formal, right, doctor? Anything. Write it down. Everybody sign it. Boom, done. Lawyers love it. IRS agents love it. It's clean. It's tight. Help me help you. Help me help you. Jerry Maguire quote there. So this is a gift I wanted to give you to use and to slide into your corporate book. And I'm going to give you a challenge. You got the perfect opportunity during the holidays to hold your board meeting this year. You got the next 3 months. Sit back and go, all right, who do I really want to travel with this holiday season? Maybe it's not family. And go, who am I going to hang out with? Where am I going for Thanksgiving? Where am I going for Christmas? And turn it into a board meeting. For years, Thanksgiving dinner, after the turkey, everybody sat around the table and we talk about the family investments. You hear about the family office concept, right? The family office concept is not just for wealthy people. It's for any business. You've got investments. You're trying to build wealth. That's your family office, and you need a board. Now, that card table moment, we all had those. So talk about the board just for a couple more minutes. When you're having these board meetings, don't get overwhelmed or what am I going to talk about? 2 hours, an hour, whatever it is. Start with your moment. Think back, when was that folding table, kitchen table moment where you came up with your dream? We're just sitting at tables meeting people and they're sharing their passion and their dreams and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. This room is the knowledge in this room, it's just power packed. And you've got that card table moment of your own. Take that moment and start to talk about it. If you don't talk about it, your family's not going to know it. They're not going to remember it. And when you start talking about it, it helps you reignite that fire. The board meeting is not just for them, it's for you too. It's hard getting up every day, getting excited about our business and what we're trying to do. When you start to share it, it comes alive. You catch that vision again, that burning desire to freaking change the world. And you get your family on board. They start to understand why you're working your ass off 12 hours a day and gone on a weekend or gone on this. Sometimes our kids don't get it. They don't know why. Our loved ones, our partners, our spouses. We got to open up and talk about it. And the board meeting is the spot to do it. It's just perfect. It's right there in front of us. I think it's a surprise. I think it's a reveal. So, last point I want to make. In the board meeting, this is so critical, is a picture. A picture says 1,000 words. And a diagram or a something to represent where you're at now and where you're going. What I've coined is a term called the trifecta. And this trifecta is the foundation of a family trust. This is a great time to review your family estate plan and trust. It's not that you're going to tell the kids what's going on. I had a client, it was funny, every year. He'd be like, Mark, I want you to amend the trust. Everybody's out this year. No one gets anything. I'm like, all right. And then the next year, you're like, everybody's back in. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's kind of funny. But it's a chance to talk about that family legacy and that trust and what you're doing is the foundation. And then we put operations on the right. For you, I guess looking at me here. Operations would be on the right. That's your S corporation. It's your operational entity. Maybe some of you don't have an operational entity, but we got our investment side, which is the left side. The left side are our assets. It's going to be our retirement accounts, our IRAs, our Roths, our 401ks, our LLCs, our rental property, our crypto, our stock. That's our family office. That should have a board, and it's a legitimate tax write-off to go meet and talk about it. Right side ops, left side assets, and it all flows down. All the arrows go down into your family trust. All the money runs downhill to your 1040, your tax return. And you put that on a diagram. And that's what my lawyers do every day, all over the country, helping small business owners affordably, not charging big city prices, to build a trifecta of where you're at now and where you're going to go in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. And you pop that up and you show the fam, and they're like, oh my gosh, there's a plan. Lights start going on for the kids and the loved ones and the spouses and the partners. So if you ever want to get a trifecta built, you just start looking at any of my books, my publications, on my podcast. You email me. I'll make sure you get with one of my attorneys to get a perfect trifecta and share it with your fam and start with your first board meeting. Clean up your entities. I know some of you have LLCs or corporations, a sheet of paper in the drawer. Let's clean them up. You get in a problem with a lawsuit or an IRS audit, and it's a train wreck, you're going to be cleaning it up real quick. So this is an opportunity. It's not a burden. So anyway, I know the dream, American dream, world dream, what country, I don't care. The dream is still alive. We can take our passion and build it and grow it. We can share it with our loved ones around us, and we can document it and talk about it in constructive ways. And I am so grateful to be here with you today and want to challenge you to take that as an opportunity to change the lives of your closest friends and family, and it'll create a ripple effect you can't even imagine, right? Thanks so much for having me today, and I'm looking forward to hanging out, and truly wish you the best in your dream and your passion. Thanks. Okay. Now, due to time constraints, let's hold off. We'll hand these out on our next break, but all of you are entitled to your board meeting minutes, so we'll do that. Dustin, the time is yours. Come on up.
Thank you again. Let's give Mark another round. Mark, I took a lot of notes back there. Thank you very much. My son, Leo, is turning 14 here soon, so this is really cool. I'm going to put him to work.